Okay, so we have already looked at how prices influence supply and demand. So that's the thing that involves the demand curve and supply curve. What we're going to look at now is how supply and demand influence prices. So it's the reverse. So this will be about how supply and demand influence prices. So there's two scenarios that can happen. Either prices increase or prices decrease. An example of this, maybe a celebrity is seen wearing a new pair of shoes, and those shoes become extremely popular. That means the demand increases. Again, they're very popular. That typically causes the prices to rise. Okay, the opposite could happen. Maybe something used to be popular. You can think about fidget spinners. They used to be really popular. Now they're not. So their popularity decreases. That typically causes the price to decrease. So if demand is high, something's very popular or in high demand, the price typically goes up. The price, or if the demand decreases, it's not popular anymore, not very many people want it, the price will have to go down. Now let's look at supply. If something becomes very rare, so it's very hard to find, it's hard to supply, maybe there is a storm that happens and a certain plant is destroyed, or there's a bad growing season for corn. That would cause corn's price to increase. So if there is a low supply, so the supply decreases, the price typically rises. Now the opposite affects if supply increases. So say a new oil reserve is found. We have a lot larger supply of oil. That tends to cause prices to decrease. So again, if something becomes popular or if it becomes rare, the supply is low, price increases. If demand decreases, so it's not as popular, or if the supply increases, there's more of it, then the price typically decreases. The final thing that we would look at is competition. Competition almost always results in a decrease in price. An example of this might be a burger restaurant opening up right next to another burger restaurant. They're going to compete to have the lowest priced item. So that's very good for consumers like us because the price will be low and typically it has better quality because again they want your business. So competition typically results in lower prices. Let's look at a few scenarios. So a celebrity is seen playing a new game. It becomes extremely popular. What could happen to the price of the game? So again, it's in high demand. It becomes very popular. That would cause price to rise. Another scenario, like we said, an old toy becomes less popular. What will likely happen to its price? So you could also think about a new iPhone comes out, the iPhone 11. The iPhone 7 isn't popular anymore. It's going to decrease in price because there is a low demand. Okay, last scenario. A resource becomes extremely rare. So that means the supply is low if it's very rare. That means they can raise the price. You may want to, if you have questions, you may want to copy this down in your notebook. The things that cause price to increase, draw an arrow up and put demand increase, supply decrease. So again, high demand, low supply, it's going to cause the prices to increase. If we have low demand, it's not very popular, and high supply, so there's a lot of it, or there's competition, the price typically decreases. Again, you might want to copy this down in your notes. This again, if you look, you have, again, two different things here. what we just watched is how supply and demand influence prices. We don't want to get that confused with how price influences supply and demand. So there's two different concepts here. The one we looked at first was how price was influencing how much people demanded and how much people supplied, what producers supplied. Then we looked at the opposite, how supply and demand influences prices. So if the demand is high or low, how does that affect the price? If the supply is high or low, how does that affect the price? Same with competition. So again, there's two different concepts there. You don't want to get the two of those confused. You say hi, Izzy.